Hello, Cassandra. Thank you for coming on to the money series. I want to start off by playing a game. Are you open to that?
As long as it doesn't involve being cut or dying.
Being
I'm
cut.
sorry, it just made me immediately think of want to play a game that, what was that? What were those movies? It's just me and my late night brain. Ignore me.
No, I like the late night brain. What was the movie?
I don't remember the name of the films, but like there's a dude with a mask and with spirals in the cheeks, and he says, "Want to play a game?" And it's just him locking up people and like it's super bad. It's really bad. But when you said that, that was the first thing my brain caught on to.
No cutting involved. Maybe through the mind. Who knows?
Well, that would be okay, I think.
Okay. It's a word association game.
Okay.
So whatever comes first. Okay. Travel.
Flight,
People.
crowds,
Energy.
buzz,
Money.
lots,
Debt.
depression,
Luxury.
leather,
Leather.
Prada.
We're going to be friends.
Oh, nice. Wonderful.
Okay. Which one do you remember?
They're going to be out of order probably. Debt, money, travel, luxury. There's probably a fifth that I'm missing.
You've done well. Let's go to money. I like talking about money. And you said lots. What does that mean?
I don't know. Like I don't have a number in mind, but I will say not having to think about it if I want to take a random spontaneous trip out of the country for at least a week or two. I don't remember which movie it was, but I have a memory of someone going to the airport and just looking at the leaderboard or whatever you call that thing and just kind of like randomly picking a place. They're like, yeah, let's go for lunch. It's ridiculous, but like enough money to be able to do that at least twice a year.
Okay. Can you do that now?
Oh, heck no.
What keeps you from it?
Money, the lack thereof. Maybe time commitment as well. Both of those things.
What keeps you from having the money to do that?
Income, not sufficient yet. Like I have clients through an agency and I'm actively working on getting new clients signed. There's some stuff in the works, but I am just newly attempting to like bolster my financial situation via my business. I've also just been kind of in a situation where I'm used to dealing with less for a long time. It's been a while. What else can I say about this?
I know this is uncomfortable. I just love that you're open and you're talking about it. This is not an easy conversation. And I just want to
No,
honor
but
that.
you would know if I was lying, so what's the point in even trying to pretend like it's something that it isn't, you know?
Why do you think it's so uncomfortable?
There's a lot of stigma around money. There's a lot of stigma around success and what that means. There's a lot of discomfort also in just admitting that you're not where you want to be, especially if you're actively trying to get there and have had a goal in mind like for a while and had been in pursuit of things for a while. And if it's not in alignment yet, like it feels like it's a failure on your part somehow. And at some point, you do have to like look at yourself and say, okay, like what is it that I'm not quite doing right? And be objective, like, okay, I've come this far. I'm not where I used to be, but I'm also not where I want to be yet. How can I get there faster or get there with more momentum, more stability? Like once I get there, I'd like to stay there. So how do I gradually get to that point and what does it look like? But on the way to getting there, especially if you have to ask for help, like that is something that I'm not fond of doing. I feel like I shouldn't need it. I feel like maybe I've failed somehow because I have the education and I feel like I should have the common sense. And even with all the discussion around Gen Z and millennials having, and honestly, Gen X too, having things really difficult in a way that's kind of unprecedented economically, I still feel hypercritical of myself. And it's like, well, if I'm the feminist I believe myself to be, why am I not like fully self-sufficient in the way I want to be yet? Like, why am I still kind of like, reliant on help from either a significant other or like I've, had to ask family for money in the past. Like, there are just so many things that I'm just like, all right, like I have to make this work because A, I can't be like underemployed anymore. Like, just can't do it. Like, I can't. I refuse to do it. And I'd almost rather risk financial ruin than go back to being in a place where I feel like I'm playing small all the time and not living up to my true potential, which is scary, but also delusional. But it also feels like the right thing to do. And like I'm trusting myself more now. But it still feels like this feels like therapy, and I feel like I'm over talking because this is supposed to be a conversation.
You're okay.
But yeah, there's definitely shame, some of which I've released, but not all of it, around just like, well, why am I not better with money, or why can't I earn more money? I'm smart, I have degrees, I have skills clearly. Like, people are willing to let me get so far with those skills. But like there's always some ceiling, or there's always some block that I'm feeling like I'm either not where I'm supposed to be, whether it's a corporate situation, or I just don't feel supported enough in acquiring the skills that I need to get to the next point, or I know that I'm in a temporary spot because I chose what I was doing because I knew it was temporary and I knew I wanted to get something out of it that wasn't necessarily like a long-term career. It was just like, can I do this? Is this like closer to my ultimate goal? So I've been doing a series of things in life, work wise, that they're all connected, but they've led me to this point, which is still not quite where I want to be, but it's closer than before.
I don't think you understand how helpful this conversation is going to be for so many people. One of the reasons I'm running this money series is because people don't talk about money. One of the questions on the form is, what is something you'd like to talk about that people aren't talking about? And so many people said, I don't know what other people are charging. I don't know what the prices are. People don't share. I'm like, that's because it's about
Yeah.
money. So let's talk about money so
Yeah.
that it becomes a lot more open and that it's a lot more comfortable, because it is extremely uncomfortable to talk about your money situation. And in this moment, you're in a moment of vulnerability. You're sharing how you're feeling. You're sharing your actual state. Not many people share their actual state unless it is to show off, unless it is to promote themselves. And the fact that you can and you are, that just shows how grounded and powerful you are in this moment, because you know yourself enough to know that this is temporary. There is such recognition in you to know that, you know what, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. And you keep saying yet because you know it's not fine. It's not finished yet. There's still work
Yeah.
happening. But you mentioned not wanting to ask for help. And you
Yeah.
said that it should be common sense. Where do you think that stems from?
My parents talked to me about money, and they said like the things that you're supposed to say, but it never really like sunk in. And I also didn't necessarily see them have a peaceful relationship with money. And money was always something that they argued over. I think I have an aversion to discussion of money, mostly because it's kind of traumatic, because in my childhood, the discussion of money was always associated with a lack of peace in the home, elevated tension, yelling, but it wasn't peaceful, like to the point where I preferred to be at school than to be at home. I remember being age 5 and then like fighting over me at that point. I think my mom had left or something, or was gonna leave. But yeah, the discussion of money carries shame, carries tension historically. There's never really, in the like historically hasn't ever been enough of it. Even the discussion between my parents, like clearly my dad was like making enough money to support the family without my mom working, but they weren't able to agree on how that money was spent. My mom was super frugal, but it was just never good enough. And I'm realizing that that is also, that has been my experience too, that I by necessity am very frugal, but it doesn't feel like it's enough. Like I'm getting to the point where I'm like, why do I have to be so frugal just to like skate by? You know what I mean? I know she had some resentment around that because she left school when she married my dad. And she left with an associate's, but she didn't finish what she originally wanted to do. So I'm very sensitive to that whole like being reliant on a man for money thing, especially where the man is aggressive and kind of an autocrat and kind of lorded it over my mom and the rest of the family that he was the breadwinner. It was a means of control. And I think he felt some insecurity about growing up poor. And now that he had money, he wasn't quite sure how to manage it either. And he felt maybe some insecurity around my mom managing the money. Even though she did well managing the money, he couldn't accept that. Like he felt like he needed to be more in control as a man. So there's a whole lot of layers here. But for me personally, if I take all of that out of the equation, it's uncomfortable because I feel like I should be doing better. Like on paper, I feel like I have a lot of education, got a lot of experience. As a creative, I've kind of drifted from one discipline to another, and I feel like I keep getting closer and closer to what I ultimately would like to do. But being a creative, it's really hard for me to put myself in a box. And while I am skilled at certain things, I feel like I do often get put into a box by other people because I'm not supposed to be good at X, Y, and Z and then do, you know, whatever letters, you know? And it's like, well, why don't you just focus on this? Growing up, I was told I was a good writer, but I never really enjoyed it. And I was told I should pursue that or pursue one thing or the other, but that the pursuit of art or fashion or something a little bit more like creativity focused was going to leave me penniless essentially. And it's like, well, look where I am now. It's like, well, I tried to do things the more practical way and all of that, and it just landed me figuring out that it wasn't a good fit for me. But now I'm left trying to figure out where I do fit in and navigating that, and I feel much more attuned to that than I used to be. But it's definitely been a long road because I've only just given myself permission to pursue the things that I'm actually interested in. So it feels like it's been a long time coming, and I think I probably have a little bit of resentment for how hard things are. It doesn't feel like it should be so hard, you know? I feel like things are made complicated that don't necessarily need to be. And then I also feel like time is such like a finite resource sometimes, having to do so many things at once just to make people aware of the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing so that they could potentially even reach out to work together kind of deal. Most of it is fun, so I don't think I'm super resentful of that. Like, in most of the time, I'm not resentful. I'm just kind of happy that I have the energy to do what I'm doing. But there are days where I'm just like really tired, or there was a long period where I didn't have enough energy, like a couple years. And I was feeling like, God, what am I doing? Clearly something is wrong. I need to change something. But again, here I am rambling, and
It's fine.
this is not like the Cassandra show.
It is the Cassandra show. The
No, it's
spotlight is
not.
on you.
I mean,
No, for
yes.
real. I want to hear your story. And I think that just listening to you of all the things that you've said, you're so right. Like when I go back to money for a second, it is incredibly layered, and trauma doesn't have to be violent in physical form. Trauma just has to be violent as a child. It could even be, I'm taking your ice cream away, and that is a traumatic memory that can stick to you because you didn't get something that you really wanted at that moment. So there's so many levels of how trauma can manifest. And there's so many layers of how your relationship with money has manifested based on the environment you're in, your own thoughts on top of everything else that is around you. I think it's incredible that you've shared this with us. So thank you, first of all. Not everyone is brave enough to do it. I know this because I'm doing these interviews and I know where people are going. And I have had incredible conversations, but there's some conversations that won't get aired because they don't go anywhere. They're not useful to anyone. So first of all, thank you. But what I also see, Kassandra, is someone who is extremely self-aware. And I don't know if you give yourself credit for this, but I see someone who is seeing themselves, understanding where they are, maybe not actioning everything that you're seeing that you're needing to do, but the awareness is there. I would love for you to acknowledge that if you haven't, but I just want to recognize you in this moment and share that with you, that I really do see someone really self-aware.
I appreciate that. I spend a lot of time alone, so I think I have to be self-aware in order to enjoy being with myself, you know?
I never asked you to introduce yourself.
So my name is Kassandra. I call myself a creative strategist. I help creative businesses and freelancers match with more aligned clients and find more aligned work.
Amazing. And where can people connect with you if they would like to do that?
LinkedIn for sure. You can find me there, probably DM me. I'm open to that. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Kassandra, you've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much for coming to the Money Series.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for asking such great questions.
You've been listening to the Money Series. I'm Ivy Malik, the Creators Business Coach. Most people, they don't realize that we're selling all the time, whether that is to gain the next high-paying client, to acquire the best talent for the business, or to even get a client to buy into a concept. I help with all things sales and change the way that you communicate to the world. Join me on the next episode where we'll discuss money with another amazing individual.